Zach, and this is my CSCI E90 final project for E90 final project for AWS Chatbot. Let's get into it. So for table of contents, for part 1, I'm going to go over my project description, just kind of what I did for my project, overall view. For part 2, we're going to go through the pre-project setup. So prior to me setting up the project, there were a few things that I had to set up beforehand. For part 3, project setup, just kind of walking through what I did, how I did it, and how I set up the chatbot. For part 4, we're going to go over the demonstration, a little demonstration of how chatbot works. For part 5, the conclusion, just an overall of what I did. And then for part 6, Q&A. Awesome. So part 1, project description. So for this project, I wanted to learn how to use AWS Chatbot to notify users through Slack about their EC2 instances. So I used CloudWatch to set a threshold for the CPU utilization for an EC2 instance. So when it surpassed that threshold, an alarm was triggered, basically which would basically have Chatbot send a message to a channel through Slack. So pretty simple. This problem would solve the problem of users needing to go to the AWS management console to view what's going on in their EC2 instance. We can look at Slack, and it gives us a bunch of information, a graph, and so on and so forth about what is happening in the instance. Please note, I did slightly change the focus of my project. I intended to have what would happen after you received the notification from Slack. From there, you could send a command like to stop the instance, for example, just from Slack directly. But I wasn't able to do that due to Lambda issues and security issues, but I was able to do my project and get AWS Chatbot set up. Awesome. So pre-project setup. For my pre-project setup, there was 2 things I needed to do. First, I needed to get a Slack account with administrative privileges. This is not just the standard account. There is a free trial that allows you to have the administrative privileges for 30 days and set up channels and so on and so forth. So I needed that account to start out with, and then once I did that, I created a channel where the AWS chatbot would reside and communicate with me. It's just a simple channel. It's only me and AWS chatbot. Awesome. So project setup. So there were 5 things that I used: the EC2 instance, the simple notification service, SNS, as we learned in class, CloudWatch, AWS chatbot, and Slack. So here's an overall idea of the process of what happens. So first, it begins in the EC2 instance. The EC2 instance, in this case, the CPU utilization, will surpass the threshold that was set in CloudWatch. Then we move on to CloudWatch. CloudWatch, its alarm will trigger because it surpassed this threshold. From there, since the alarm is triggered, SNS would receive the alarm from CloudWatch and forward it to AWS Chatbot. And then Chatbot itself would forward that alarm information to Slack, and then Slack would display the alarm information to everyone in the selected channel. So setting up for EC2, it's the same setup we usually use in class. You pick your name, you use AMI for Amazon Linux 2023, instant type T2 micro, your key pair, security group. I choose the one we usually use for class, and then I created that. SNS topic is pretty simple, same thing we did in class. Topic type, standard topic name, enter your desired name, and then create it. CloudWatch, so I went to CloudWatch, I set up the alarm, set up the following. I chose a metric, which was for EC2, the CPU utilization. I set the threshold, it could be under 10, I used 8, just for fun. And then it would send the notification to the SNS topic that we created earlier, and then I named the alarm. For AWS Chatbot, this is where things get interesting. You go into AWS console and then you look up AWS Chatbot. From there, it has you select 3 different types of messaging services with Slack, Chime, and then Microsoft Teams. So I selected Slack. Slack, my bad. I entered credentials, followed instructions, and authorized the chatbot. Super simple. And then once I was past that, the configurations came up. I was able to choose my name for the chatbot, select whether I wanted to use a public or private Slack channel. I picked the Slack channel name based on what I had. I created a role and I named the role. And then for that role, I chose policies, notification permissions, read all, Lambda, resource, incident manager, Amazon EC2 full access, so on and so forth. And then I chose the SNS topic again that we created, and I created our chatbot. From there, the Slack and chatbot integrations. So we set up a chatbot within AWS, but now it was time for us to set it up within Slack. So basically, you just go to Slack, you go to the top where it's a little search bar, search AWS, and then you install it, and then you can invite AWS chatbot to your Slack channel. You can either just go and add it from the members list, or you can just go at AWS and it would install it. So that's pretty cool. So to test my chatbot, I came up with the idea that I was just going to stress my EC2 instance out to where it would trigger the alarm to go off, and then from there it would generate a notification in the channel that I chose. I used these commands below, sudo yum install stress -y to install stress, and then I stressed 4 CPU cores out for 2 minutes. That's how I stressed out my EC2 instance to generate the alarm. And then this is my expected outcome. This is what I got, but I'll show you in the demonstration. AWS posted the CloudWatch alarm. It displayed a bunch of information like namespace, timestamp, alarm state. It told us that it passed what threshold it did, and then it gave us this really cool graph so we can kind of see what time it was and when it like skyrocketed because I was stressing out the EC2 instance. Awesome. So onto the demonstration. Sorry, ignore that. So for our demonstration, we are going to go into our chatbot. Sorry, my computer is lagging. It does not like screen recording, but that's okay. I'm going to connect to our chatbot box like we usually do. Our EC2 instance, my bad. We're going to log in here. Then, simple command, I already have it set up. We're going to stress our CPU out. So it's going to take a second. While that's happening, this is our Slack channel. Originally, I deleted these messages because I assumed that the message would pop up next, but it's actually popping up in this channel reply. So this was 19 minutes ago. That's okay, we can wait. It's going to take a few seconds for our EC2 instance to stress out. I wish it was faster, but it does take its time. As we're waiting, we can... My laptop does not like what's happening, but that's okay. You can go to CloudWatch super quick, see what's going on in there. Unless we haven't gotten a notification yet, that's okay. Perfect. Go in the CloudWatch. Alarm is currently okay, but it will stress out eventually. Let's see, all alarms. As it loads. Oh, it is an alarm, meaning that there you go. We just got a notification right now. CloudWatch alarm, threshold crossed, same thing. Let's go and see more information. Here's our little graph that just happened, telling us what metric alarm name's going off, what instance, what time. Yeah, So awesome. So glad that worked. Let us jump back into our slideshow. Awesome. So, in conclusion, I was able to set up an AWS chatbot to deliver SNS messages to Slack based on CloudWatch alarms. As I mentioned before, it can be very useful because instead of going to CloudWatch like I was, and it was taking forever to load to see what was happening, you can quickly receive a message within Slack, and then from there, actually, let me show you. In the future, you can click on these little buttons right here, and you can do a lot of different things. This is where the Lambda functions and everything come in. I was not able to figure this out. I got close, but then it would mess up my entire project when I had those settings set. So that would be something I would definitely try again in the future. But in the future, if someone were able to do that, it just make it more. It'd make everything easier because then you can just work from Slack and not have to log into AWS. So, quick Q&A, some commonly asked questions, since I know you guys can't ask questions. Why did I pick this project? Honestly, when I was looking at what to do, I just found that this was a service in AWS and it sounded really cool. I thought originally it was going to be more AI based, which would have been cool, but honestly, I'm glad how it turned out. I think chatbot's really cool, and I'm very glad that I got to work with another program like Slack and see how it they both work together. What was the hardest part about this project? Figuring out that my Lambda functions weren't going to work. I was trying for a few days and I just couldn't get it right, and I didn't want to give up, but eventually I had to. It just wasn't working out. I'm sad I didn't get to, but I got super close, which I'm very proud of myself, and I'm glad I got the overall project to work. I just had to adjust that a little bit, but yeah, that was the hardest part. And what is my favorite part about this project? Honestly, I had a really fun time, creating a project myself and seeing what I could do. I love the homework we do. We learn so much, but it was really cool to just have a blank piece of paper and just my knowledge with AWS and picking something and making something happen, and doing whatever I wanted, which was cool. But yeah, so that is my project. Thank you.